Hey guys, do you have a Ford Taurus that's not running the world's best, maybe missing now and then, not getting the greatest gas mileage, even lost some of its performance since you first bought it? Well, I am going to show you how to change out all 6 spark plugs. We're going to put brand new ones in it, and also we are going to put a brand new set of coil wires on it to help bring back that performance that it should have. Now, here are the tools we'll need for this job. Nothing too exotic, just your standard tools. I have about a 3.5, 4-inch extension. I have a couple of shorter ones here. These are about 1.5 inches. Sometimes you have to adjust these around in the back because it's a little tight back there, taking those plugs out. A regular ratchet, a swivel, this is the key so you don't end up breaking your brand new plugs, and also a spark plug socket. In my case, mine is a 5/8, yours may be a little bit bigger or smaller. Verify the size, and also a 6-inch piece of 5/8-inch tubing. Trust me, this guy right here is going to save you a lot of grief back there, and you're going to thank me later. I'll show you what that's all about a little bit later. And also, finally here, we have a spark plug gap setter so we can set our brand new spark plugs correctly as we put them in. Now, the only optional tool we might need later is this guy here, a magnet, just in case you drop it in your sockets, or maybe a spark plug on the back of the engine, because sometimes we all know things don't fall to the floor and they get trapped on the back side of the engine. So other than that, let's get to it. Now my Taurus is in the garage tonight. I did an oil change earlier and I still have it up on ramps, but I figured since it's in the garage and this would be a great opportunity to go ahead and do those plugs and wires. That only means one thing. So I will have to stand up on my little stool and get up in there, and I will show you how to change those plugs. Typically you can do this when the car's outside, all 4 wheels on the ground, and you can bend over just fine by changing those plugs on the back. What we're looking at here is my 2000 Ford Taurus. It has the Vulcan engine, which has 12 valves, meaning 2 valves per cylinder. Then they have the Duratec engine, which is 24 valves. It is aluminum heads, has 24 valves, and it has 4 valves per cylinder. Now mine, luckily I have the steel head. It's a lot easier to work on. Also, 2 things here. The coils are bolted in 2 different places. On mine, it is bolted off to the right on the 2000 model with the steel heads. Then they have another 2001 on up. I believe the coil is bolted right here on the valve cover. So it's pretty easy to get to. And you see my wires running from the coil here down to the front plugs. And you got a second set of coil wires on the right hand side that runs under the air cleaner and wraps around the back of the engine. And one other quick note, just make sure when you're ordering your new plug wires, make sure you get the correct ones. As you can see, mine have the little quick release tabs. Some do and some don't, so it really depends on your vehicle. Make sure you check that before you order your new plug wires. And the back plugs are the ones that are really difficult to take out, so that's the ones we are going to do first, because I know that's what you really came here for. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and remove our air cleaner. And this only takes just a few, probably less than a minute. Move that wire out of the way just so I don't hit it again. Pull that off. Have a wire down here on the bottom we got to take off. Push this tab in and that'll push that off there. Release these clips. Now we can pull the air cleaner off and pull the little hose off the side and put this off to the side. Now, as you can see, the reason we remove the air cleaner is so you can get your right hand and behind like this, and you can get your hands all the way in the back to almost where the plugs are. Of course, you're going to have to almost lay up on top of the engine to do that. I can't lay up there right now because I got my camera set up here, but I'll show you how I get the plugs out by using my right hand, getting in behind the engine like this, taking my left hand and going down behind the plenum. As you just saw, I had my right hand right there and behind the plenum, which goes back in there. I take my left hand and I simply just slide it down behind the plenum here between the firewall, well, the edge of the rain gutter, the plastic here that covers up the rain gutter, and the back of the plenum, and I stick my hand down in here, and this will allow me to guide my socket onto the plug and gently take it out as we start the process here. I just showed you how I'm going to use my hands to get behind the engine and take those plugs out. Now, if you have any wires in the way, it's a good idea to go ahead and pull them out of the way because you can break a couple of things. Also, I have a transmission dipstick here. I'm going to pull out of the way. And if you notice on my vehicle, I have this aluminum intake. I have this big EGR tube on the bottom that bolts up on the back side. I should be able to get my hand back there and take these plugs out. I've had these plugs out before, but if you have the plastic intake, I don't know if you will have the big EGR tube back here. I don't think they did that model. Your plugs will be a little bit easier to change, but on the 2000 model, it seems like it's the more difficult ones to get your hand back in here to change, because there's simply not a lot of room. I actually have two more little vacuum lanes I'm going to unhook. Then we'll get back here and we'll go ahead and pop these plugs out, and I'll show you how I do this. Okay, now I've got the camera set up, and now we're going to go ahead and take off this number 1 plug. This is the one closest to the firewall on the driver's side. And if you can't get the wire off, you may have to get a pair of pliers and pull it off. So get that out of the way. And I got the lighting set up the best I can. Anybody knows on the back of these Tauruses, there's absolutely no room. And it's a miracle that I even got my camera back here. That's another story. So now we'll go ahead and put our swivel on the spark plug. And I can kind of see it up here by looking down. And there we go. Got that on. And now I'll simply take my ratchet, which is back here. I think you can see it there. And we'll go ahead and break this loose. Alright, here we go. Alright, and it's loose. Okay. We got her started. Now usually you can start them with your hand. They usually come out pretty good. So what I will do, I'll take it about halfway out, and I'll pull my socket off. Now you can see the plug sticking out. And now what I will do is take my piece of tubing that you saw earlier, and I'll take my piece of tubing and I'll stick it on the end of the spark plug, push it on like that, and simply just take it out. And this way, you won't have to worry about dropping the plug when it comes out. And here it comes. See? And that way you don't have to worry about losing it. And when you put it back in, you do the same method, and it works out pretty good. So let me go ahead, get the other plug, and we'll stick it in. Sometimes a lot of people will use anti-seize stuff on the end of these plug wires. I should say on the end of the plugs. I'm not going to. I'm just going to snug my plugs. Snug them, I should say. And it should get me through it just fine. But if you want to use anti-seize solution, that's fine. So let me get the other plug. And I'll gap it first, and we'll stick it on. Okay, number 1, we'll go ahead and gap. We'll just simply slide this in here, and we'll spin it until we get just about where we want it. And I believe these plugs are probably already pre-gapped, so this one's at 55 thousandths. And that's pretty much what the book calls for, so there's number 1. Okay, I got my plug gapped, and we're ready to stick it back on. And you can see I have it on my 5/8 inch piece of tubing. Now I'll simply just stick it down in there like this, figure out where the plug hole is, and tighten her up. And trust me, this is a lot easier. Now once you get it tight, just pull the hose back off, like that. Grab your socket and your ratchet, guide it back on, right about there. Now I know you can't see it with the camera, but I can see the top of the plug from where I'm at. And we'll just simply tighten it back up. And like I said, about snug it real good. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on it. Maybe 10 pounds and that's it. And that one is tight. And we'll simply pull off our ratchet, and we'll head over to the next one. Okay, now we're on our second one, and you can see the boot's not even on that one, so we'll go ahead and pull this wire off. Get that out of the way. Grab our ratchet and our socket, and I'll get up on top here, and I'll look down between the firewall, the plenum and the firewall, and I can see where the plug's at. So I'll stick my socket back down in here, and you can see I got this EGR stuff in the way, so it can be a little frustrating. So you got to work around it. Stick the plug socket back on there. Actually, it's on the bottom. There we go. Alright, put the socket on there. go ahead and break it loose. Alright, that one's loose. Alright, now we'll take it out. It's really not too bad if you can get up on top and look down and see what you're doing. And now, well, I don't want to go too far. Let me tighten it up just a little bit. Pull my socket off. Grab my hose. And this hose, trust me folks, it's a lifesaver. Push it on the spark plug and take the plug out. Because there's not a lot of room to get your fingers in there, and this helps you guide the plug in and plug out and you don't lose it. Okay. And here comes the plug. And as you can see, it's out. And this is how your how well the tube works. Your little hose. It really makes a big difference. So I'm going to grab the other plug. I'll gap it real quick. These gap at 54 thousandths, and we'll stick the new one in. Alright, here is number 2. We'll check it. Spin it around here, slide it around, see where we go. And it looks like we go to about 55 thousandths. So that one looks good. Number 2. And we'll simply slide it in the hole. I like when things go in the hole easy. And see, I got my tube, my little hose, and I'm simply screwing the plug in. Now sometimes you can't really get them started with a socket. Alright, now it's in. I'll pull the hose back off. Grab my ratchet, which is right here. And my socket. And we'll simply snug it down again, tighten it up a little bit. And that one's done, and we only have one more to go. So far, not so bad. So let me rearrange my light and the camera angle to this last one. Okay guys, I am on my very last plug, and took me a while to get the camera set up, but I think it's set up where you can see. So now we'll go ahead and pop this one off. And once again, like I said, I apologize because there's not a lot of room back there. So we'll take this one out. Get the socket on there. And try not to move the camera. Maybe a little difficult. Okay. Got it loose. And we'll take it just partly out. Now I'll get my hose. And we'll slide this on. And this is a lifesaver right here. Just by doing this, I can pull the plug out. I don't have to reach my fingers way in there and guess at it. And out it comes slowly. And there's the plug. So we gap the other one. We'll stick it in while the camera's still going. And here we go with number 3. Slide this around. And 54. And looks like about 50. Right at 55 thousandths. And now comes our little rubber hose. Slide that in there like this. And we'll tighten our spark plug back up. And now we'll just simply pull our hose off like that. And our spark plug is in. And now we'll tighten this up, snug it really good. Oops. And now all of our back plugs are in, so that wasn't too bad. Like I said, if you can get up on top and look down and have your light off to the side, it's not an issue. So now all I have to do is go ahead and hook up my wires on the back, and we'll hit the front. Alright, I got my new wires on this side, and you can see they're going to kind of go back behind the, well, underneath the plenum and back on the back side. So the back is done. And really all I've got to do is hook everything up here, and we'll go ahead and quickly do the front one. So let me go ahead and clean all this up here, hook everything up, and we'll work on the front. Okay, now we're on the front, and what we'll do is you can watch me just pull these out one at a time, and we'll look at the plugs, and this will give us some idea how the engine is running. So we'll unhook our wires and just kind of push them back out of the way for now. And we'll start taking some plugs out, see what we got. We'll just do this in real time, since I know you don't have much to do tonight. Alright, so here comes number, not sure what firing order is on this side, but there's one. There's two. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my little rubber hose, just like I did on the other side. You don't have to, this side's a lot easier to get to. A little harder to get out on this side, but there it is. And you can see that plug there. Looks really good. Hopefully the camera's still focused. Light brown, that's what we want, so that one looks pretty good. Go to the next one. Okay, there it is. And it looks really good too, nice and brown. I apologize, I don't think my camera's focusing. There we go. It looks really good. And we'll do the last one here. And it looks really good too. So I'm happy. The front cylinder head here is doing just what it's supposed to do. It's burning efficiently and nice and clean. So now let's grab our other plugs. Alright, this one's already been gapped, so we'll go ahead and stick it in the front. Since these are a lot easier, I'll just use my socket up front. I won't use the hose putting it in. Snug it down. It doesn't have to be really tight. Grab our second plug. 54, alright, 55 thousandths. And if anyone wants to know, I'm actually using these Autolite Platinum plugs. They, I guess, are pretty good. They use them in NASCAR, so they must be good enough for an old Taurus, right? Alright, we'll go ahead and stick this one in. And the engine is cold, pretty much cold now, so you want to do this when the engine's cold. Not hot, not really warm, just pretty much cold. Alright, we'll tighten this one up real quick. I believe you can still see that, okay. Alright, and we'll do our final one. And it's been gapped, it's set, it's in good shape, as you can see it there. And we'll put this one in. And we are pretty much done with the plugs. All we got to do is put the wires on, and they're very simple to do. And that is done. Alright, just about got all my plug wires on the front here. Got them all figured out, and we'll put this one on. Now all I got to do is put my little clips and stuff to hold these wires in place. And we can almost start this up and see how it sounds. I got all my new wires on my coil, and you can see everything looks pretty good. I got all my little pigtails on, just like it was when I took it off, and I'm all done. So all I got to do now is go ahead and start it up, and let's give it a listen and see how it sounds. Wow, what a difference. No more sputtering. Sounds really good. And you can always turn your light out and look and see if you see any sparking anywhere. So with these new wires, I don't think I'll have a problem. So I'm all happy. I wish I could show you the back wires, but there's just simply no way I can get my camera back there. But trust me, they're on. and I think it's going to run a lot better. So I'm happy about that. Alright guys, well there you go. Hopefully my tips will help you out a little bit. Like I said, these engines are pretty hard to put plugs in the back. If you can get to 3 in it, then like I said, for 3 on the front, a blind man could do it. But when you're in the back, you just got to take your time and try to figure out what works best for you. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and hopefully, like I said, this will help some of you guys out. If it does, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer it. But other than that, I am done. That's the end of the video. And I call this job done. So thanks for watching. Until my next project, I will see you then.